Welcome to The Disruption Is Now. Join us on this enlightening journey as we explore how AI is impacting our jobs, careers, lives, and the human experience. Each episode, host Greg Matusky will converse with visionaries and innovators at the forefront of AI, diving into its challenges, opportunities, and impact. So buckle up as we venture into the heart of disruption, and together, let's unfold the future.
Well, welcome to another episode of The Disruption Is Now, the podcast where we talk about AI and how it's impacting communications, commerce, and our culture. I'm your host, Greg Matusky. I'm also the CEO of Gregory, the large public relations agency, which I will say we just won top PR agency in America from PR Daily. So it's been a banner week. And I have kind of an unusual segment today. And that's because you would think the last kind of business, the least likely kind of business I would have on is a home remodeling business. And yet what I'm about to talk about is how AI can really impact any kind of business, not just technology business and software business. So I'm joined today with the CTO, Danny Fisher of West Shore Home. Danny, thanks for being with us today, and thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Exciting opportunity.
I'm going to share a little story with you. When we, in all transparency, West Shore Home is a client of Gregory, but when I first learned about you, I got a call from somebody on your executive management team, and they told me you were looking to improve your visibility and you wanted some national recognition for all the good work you have done in the business, this amazing business you have built. And I said, well, it's home remodeling. I'm not sure how much we could really do. And then they said, no, Greg, you don't understand. We're a tech business. And I said, really? How do you account for that? And they said, well, you're one of the most tech-enabled PR firms in the country, AI-enabled firms, and we have an AI story. And I said, okay, that sounds great. So I beat a path out to Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and I realized that this is very much of an AI story, and you're the CTO. Tell us a little bit about your background, because it's unique too. You don't come from the technical side, if I understand correctly, Danny.
Yeah. So we'll go back a ways. I started at West Shore Home around 10 years ago and started as the corporate trainer. My formal education was actually in education. And I was a K through 12 business ed teacher.
Wow.
Got my MBA after undergrad, and really my first gig was here at West Shore Home as the corporate trainer. And as a corporate trainer, is a lot different organization than it is today. So a small organization. I was one of the few employees that was not on the value stream serving our customers. And I predominantly focused on inside sales and sales training, just helping new hires, helping continuous improvement, and really building more structure around the people systems of our organization, and really learn the technology piece on the job. There's been some key moments at West Shore over the years, and one of them was back in 2016. When BJ decided he really wanted to digitize the business. And at that time, again, we were a small organization, less than 100 employees. And the idea of building our own software, our own operating system to scale home remodeling was an ambitious endeavor, but we started down that path. And really, that's where we were learning by fire. As very often we were coming up with ideas by day, building them at night, releasing them the next day. And there's just tremendous cycles of rapid learning over that time.
So help the listener understand just how big West Shore Home is, because I think it's easy to miss the fact that you are a national player and with tremendous employee base all across the country and dealing with thousands of homeowners all across the country. Give us some idea of the scale of the business.
Yeah, so we're the largest bath remodeler in the country, but we are also the industry leader in other verticals as well. So windows, doors, baths, and flooring currently, and that list will ever be expanding. We have about 3,000 employees, and we do about a billion in revenue. When I started, just for context, in 2015, we were doing about 10 million in revenue. So fast forward to today, it's about 1,000x, and that's really driven by our awesome team. Something unique about West Shore is that we have all employee installers. We have a value of extreme ownership, where we enjoy having control of our success and control of the customer experience. So we've always been very bullish on investing in ownership of our technology, of our people, of our talent, as a whole. So about 3,000 employees. We have about 110-person technology team, which is very large for a company in our industry. Generally, a lot of organizations in our industry have very small teams and leverage outside parties to build a lot of the technology. And we just found we did that for a few reasons. One, speed. Speed is a big part of our equation. You have to have speed if you're going to go from 10 million to a billion in 10 years. And also, we just care more. We believe, as internal employees, we really live our values, and it's important to us that we deliver and provide great customer experiences across the country.
Well, I want to go deeper here because I think it's interesting. I want to get back to the scale issue, the roles of technology AI have played in that. But first, I want to go back to this notion that you don't have a technical background, a technology background, and you have a human background because you're in training. And as I like to say, so much of what I'm involved in the adoption of AI and all these new technologies is change management. It's behavioral change more than anything else. So I don't have a technical background, but I have been the disciple within my firm of change, right, to adopt AI, because we're a communications firm. And if you stop and think about it, we're more at risk than just about any firm you can imagine with LLMs and all that they can achieve. So tell me a little bit about what you think about that, the ability to apply what you knew as a trainer to what we need to achieve as leaders in this quickly changing environment we're in.
Yeah. So I love hiring educators or previous educators. And there's a few reasons for that. If you think back to your elementary and high school days, maybe higher education days, and you think about what a teacher actually does, and it's pretty magnificent. Each day, generally, they come into work and they are leading hundreds of students across a full day, usually, to learn something new. So they are implementing change every single day. They're saying, hey, you have this level of understanding. We need to get here. Here's what we're going to do by providing thoughts, experiences, stories, examples to get to that desired future state. And, I originally, when I got into the technology vertical within West Shore, I worried that I would miss the educational aspect of what I was doing, of engaging with people and helping them see the envisioned future state and helping them get there. And I do it 10 times more as a executive at our organization. Often, what I'm doing is trying to connect the dots for folks as to connecting it with our vision, connecting with other teams. I value my education degree probably more than my MBA in this experience, because again, teachers just implement change on a day-to-day basis. And it's provided a lot of foundation for me to be able to really evolve how West Shore has operated many times over the last 10 years.
So that brings us to the scale issue. We're at 2016, and the vision becomes that we're going to digitize the business. AI is still off in the horizon somewhere, and that required a lot of change, I would imagine. I mean, you were a home remodeling, centralized there in Mechanicsburg, but what were the steps that you did? I understand that the whole business was re-engineered so that the data flow, right, was more seamless, more available, more accessible, and that takes a real, I would think, jump in your mentality to think, oh, we service customers, but data is what's going to enable us to do that more customized, more personally.
Yeah. So I have an interesting story of when BJ wanted to open up his second
And
office.
BJ's the CEO, the founder.
Correct. BJ's our CEO. Founded the business in the mid 2000s. Um, and in 2015, when he wanted to open up his second branch, which we're based in Mechanicsburg, PA, we're looking to open a branch in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is uh, very close to BJ's roots. Um, we went to our current CRM provider and they said, yeah, that's no problem. You can just create another tenant and have two different logins for each branch. So when you're working on Pittsburgh, you can log into the Pittsburgh branch. When you're working on Mechanicsburg, you can log into the Mechanicsburg branch. And very quickly, we identified that that's not going to work in regards to integration and process continuity. At that time, we had huge bookshelves of folders. So we've been in business for at least 10 years at that point, and we had rows and rows and rows of shelves with job folders, which is still an industry norm across our industry. We had folders, we had paper processes, and um, I think our Salesforce implementation in 2016 was our first real investment into digitizing our business. And paired with that, in mid 2017 is really where we learned how to set up Salesforce, our Salesforce instance, and now it's a lot of other platforms as well. But we went through a lean transformation, which was a uh, huge eye opener. Some of our like core KPIs that like you could never fathom that we uh, didn't have, we came up with during our lean transformation. So BJ brought in a lean consultant, somebody with like automotive experience here in central Pennsylvania. And we spent a few years just working on applying lean principles to our business. And it was a really cool time. I led our lean transformation while I was working on the tech and building out the tech. And like the amount of friction towards and the amount of sweat it took to go from idea to testing that hypothesis was just so low. As we were working through the continuous improvement event, we instantly had the technology scoped, and very often we could implement changes within the event itself. So I view the technology as the means. I view lean as how to organize the technology, and really that thought process and that understanding of how customers flow through our processes and how our processes speak to us with data so we can adjust our performance and strategies. Um, I think that is part of the secret sauce that has allowed West Shore Home to continue to scale without uh, a lot of stress.
Well, that's really interesting because I interview a lot of companies that go in and deploy AI within other companies, and they always talk about how 80% of their job, right, is to recreate the process before they can even deploy AI. Like the systems are so broken that they first have to do what you're talking about. They first have to figure out what is the data flow, where is it, how disparate are the different information sources that you need to somehow integrate, right, and be able to call from as you grow this. So it's interesting that the entire $1 billion business is based on that first layer, right? So tell me how it progressed. You have this now insight into how the data flows. Bring me full circle, this aha, that all that you do right now in how you deal with the customer and how that data is captured, used, accelerated, and fulfilled.
Yep. Um, so tapping into a lean methodology called A3 thinking. And a part of A3 thinking is the idea that you establish a current state, you define a future state as to where you want to be, and then you figure out what's causing the difference between the two, which sounds so obvious, right? But uh, when I think about that current state to future state differential model, um, it is at the core of how West Shore Home thinks about processes, thinks about growth, and that could scale from individual employees to the overall macro customer experience that we're providing. We are here, we want to get there, and we have things that are driving the difference between where we are and where we want to be. Uh, there's a lot of cool self-actualization energy in our story where we generally we found a limiting factor is how much we believe we can accomplish. And often we use the phrase shoot for the stars and land in the clouds. So we set very ambitious future state goals. And in the process of West Shore Home of getting from current state to future state, the bridge is really a lot of iterative cycles. Like if you were to draw a picture of West Shore Home's success, it would look like stairs with PDCA cycles. PDCA means plan, do, check, act cycles uh, that allows us to keep incrementing and improving over time. So, although it's often stated that West Shore Home is an overnight uh, growth, it is a ton of iteration. We've picked up, um, over the years, we've come up with industry leading solutions and then have deemed them inappropriate a few years later and not worthy a few years later. So there's a serious need to not have ego in those situations.
So,
Um,
so tell me about the customer interface and the scanning of in-home needs and how that all plays out now that you have this in place. What is the process? What is the aha cool things that West Shore Home has brought to the market to allow for this type of speed and scale?
yeah. So we have a concept at West Shore Home called Scan the Plan. And the idea there is we want to be able to walk into a room in a home, turn it into data as fast as possible, and automate the process of inspiring the customer and letting the customer choose their desired future state. Um, we do that in a few ways, and AI is at the core of it. So we have proprietary in-house built tools that will take 3D lidar scans of our of the different spaces that we do work in. That creates a 3D digital twin for our clients and for our back office to be able to interact with the space, and then integrates into our configuration sort of CPQ configure price quote solution. And that's proprietary as well. So we're very quickly when we walk in a home, we're able to turn that room into data so we can start applying our understanding that we've developed over the last 15 years in home remodeling to apply for. So that data is so important. We had an epiphany recently that everything after a sales appointment is kind of secondhand information leading up to install. So the time in the home is like a very, very, very valuable time for us to set up and install for success. That's the hard part about scoping, about scaling home remodeling. Is it's not in the labor force. We're able to, because our scope is disciplined, we're able to train installers very quickly to build our own labor force. The hard part is scoping or scaling the scoping process at the beginning. So like it takes a pretty uh, um, outside of our system, it takes a very experienced person to be able to walk into a room and say, "This is how you remodel it, and this is what it's going to cost." That takes years of experience from us construction companies, and with us, we've sort of built the building blocks of automation that allows that to be more approachable to where even customers can do it, where they can get the quotes on their own without having a guided experience.
So that would be with what, a smartphone within their home?
Yep. So we think of automated current state capture. When I say current state, that's the space as it is today. as sort of two mechanisms. So that's LiDAR scan, and certain consumer-driven devices have LiDAR sensors in them. Most of the Apple Pro devices do. And on top of that, we're catching a video during the scan as well. So in that video, we're able to use image recognition models to understand, is that tile or is that a wood floor? Is that uh, sort of pedestal stink or is that a full vanity cabinet? And those decisions and sort of takeaways is really the hard part of a home remodeling job for our consumers, like knowing what they have and knowing the transformation process to get to where they want to be.
And then because you control the whole process, you control inventory, their employees of the company who actually do the install, you can immediately manage those resources. You can pull from inventory, you can figure out the labor needs, and you can schedule right at that moment. Am I understanding that right?
Yes. Earlier this year, so end of Q1, we released a functionality called Sapos. And Sapos is an acronym. It means schedule at the point of sale. And we believe this will be the standard in home remodeling and in home services very shortly as people catch on. Um, Sapos is one of our coolest use cases of AI and agentic workflow. Um, we really have four legs to the scheduling tool, and this allows us to do it in the home as we're selling. So as the consumer is looking at options, we can understand the impact from a lead time perspective if they choose the oil rub bronze finish or the brush nickel finish. So we can use our inventory data and our labor data and our permitting data and our payment data to understand what is their earliest install date. And then we have agents running across those large data sets, figuring out what's relevant and where the long pole in the tent is. Sometimes it's a permit that could push out an install if the job's completely stock everything. Sometimes it's a custom transom window that will take 12 weeks. And through agentic processes, we're able to establish that earliest install date as we're selling in the home.
That's wild. I mean, you have 100 tech employees. From my notes, it says that you've invested over $100 million in the platform itself, and it enables you to do this at the point of sale, which is the most important contact point with the client. What do you see evolving in the next 18 to 24 months? I mean, we're moving so quickly. As you said, you've developed a lot of things that you've scrapped in the past because you've kind of outrun your coverage, to use a football cliche. I know it's a big, West Shore is a big Penn State football supporter, but what do you see happening on the horizon and what you'll do with tomorrow's technologies, which will make this even cooler?
Yeah. So most of the proprietary mobile tooling that we've built so far, so the LiDAR scanning tool, the configure price quote tool, our Codex home database model has really been internally focused. So these help us earn the business with customers. These help us set up installers for success to get to the home with the right materials and the right talent and the right time scheduled to get the work done. Where I think the puck is moving is sort of that democratization of the front end of design and sort of scoping and pricing. So us allowing the customer to be more empowered, essentially. And what's cool is a lot of the infrastructure that we've built, we've built in mind that like eventually everybody should be able to do this. So we've really seek to find the universal patterns of what goes into scoping a home remodeling project to where we can simplify it for a consumer to do it. So today, our employees use a lot of our tooling to scan the room, and that data then sucks into our configure price quote tool. And in the future, I believe our customers will be empowered to enter that data and use that data to help them improve their properties. Whether it's with West Shore, whether it's with another company, our job to be done for our customers is to allow and help people to improve their properties. And it starts to me with current state data collection. So like, how can we allow now a customer to walk into their own home and turn it into data? Because that's a hard thing about home remodeling. Every home is different. That's why it's built so well for AI, that it can adapt to all that very unstructured and variable structure. Um, uh, yeah,
Now, with this platform in place, we've spoken mostly about bathrooms, and that's what you all have been known for. But I would see the application in so many home renovation and remodeling projects, decks and flooring and kitchens and cabinets and all that goes on with it. You have this incredible AI generated opportunity here with scanning and capturing data. You've set up an entire back end that allows for the efficient management of those resources with agentic AI. Is the plan to broaden those offerings? How do you intend to maintain this growth?
yeah. Certainly, that's one growth lever that we have. We have a few. We're not in every U.S. Market currently, so we have some geographic growth opportunities ahead of us. But products, I believe, are the most exciting. So, like adding new service offerings for consumers. Um, you know, I look at our industry as a whole, and it has very low customer switching costs. What I mean by that is like the amount of cost to the customer to use somebody else the next time is extremely low. And from a data perspective, I believe this is an area where we can really differentiate and make our business a little more stickier. And each time we add a product, that adds more value almost exponentially. As we were talking about, like scanning, we're seeking to collect scans of entire homes. And therefore, when a consumer, let's say in 8 months after we do their bath or we replace their windows, they say, all right, I love my windows, I'm ready to do my floor. We believe we're going to be able to provide a differentiated experience for that floor because we've already been to the home. And therefore, we can make the experience so much easier where you don't have to start from zero with the company. They already have my data. They already have my measurements. Therefore, I can just focus on making my property better with the least amount of friction possible.
Well, West Shore is really a unique case study. I've never seen anything like it. I've seen companies that are struggling with AI, companies that can't get buy into it, or as I said earlier, companies that have such a broken process that the deployment of AI just fails because it's just accelerating a bad process, right? It really is a great business story of setting up a business from the ground up and being able to put this all into work. It's amazing that everything's come together at this point where AI is so available now that you can actually leverage all that investment in a greenfield kind of company I've never seen do anything like this. And that's why I said at the beginning, when the initial call came in, I was like, well, you're remodeling. And I was quickly corrected. And I was told, no, we're a tech company, because you are a tech company. Our conversation today, it wasn't about contractors and tool belts and sanders and Makita drills. It was more, how do you enable scale with the technologies you have on a business that for decades, maybe centuries, had been based on just labor, basically, and how you would get it done. Danny, I want to thank you for being with us. A really great segment. Appreciate you taking the time. And we'll be watching you closely, not just as a client, but as a phenomenon, as an example in the American economy, how businesses can transform themselves with AI and technology. Again, thank you.
Yeah, we'll continue to get better every day. Thanks,
Terrific.
Greg.
This podcast is a production of Gregory. If you enjoyed our discussion today and want to continue exploring the transformative power of AI, please check out more episodes and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.